Great to have you with us. You spent no small amount of time trying to debunk all of the myths out there that man didn't go to the moon. Where did you start?
We started by replicating everything that was replicating all the circumstances that were held up as evidence that that we never actually went there and that these things were faked. And once we were able to recreate these scenarios, then we started putting the elements in place, like shadows, like we replicate a moon gravity situation, and got in a spacesuit and went through it, and all these kinds of things. Once we had that set up, then we could clearly go about showing whether say a shadow was proof that something was faked or not, and we were very surprisingly easily able to go through and show that these were all natural environments that could occur, and there was absolutely no tooth to any of these statements.
Adam, you have the flag flapping in the breeze, but there's no breeze on the moon.
Yeah, and that was one of the most common claims by moon landing deniers, or nutbags, as I like to call them.
Fuck you, you piece of shit.
Corey took a flag built to the exact specs of the flag
spit in your fucking face.
And they actually were given access to a full-size room that NASA was able to pump all the air out to turn into a vacuum chamber. They put that flag in the vacuum chamber, and lo, it turns out that without an atmosphere, that flag, after you put it in place, rocks back and forth a lot longer than you would imagine, living in a world with atmosphere, which is exactly what happened on the moon. It had a bar on top to hold the flag straight out. I don't think anyone disputes that. And then as the astronaut moved it into place for the camera, it rocked back and forth for long enough that people seemed to think that there was a breeze, but there was not. It was just physics.
Well, you guys are known as the Mythbusters.
You guys are known as a fucking
what's his name here?
Disinformation.
Bert Siebel, who went all the way
Liars.
and made a documentary film, debunking the whole mission to the moon.
You.
It was a funny thing happened on the way to the moon. But I think that Buzz Aldrin has to really be one of the real Mythbusters, because when Siebel approached him, shouting at him, "You're a liar, a coward, and a thief." Well, let's show the audience a clip of that.
You're the one who
damage
said
control.
you walked on the moon when you didn't. Calling the kettle black, if you ever thought of it. Saying I misrepresented myself.
Away from me.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
And there Buzz Aldrin just clocks him on the spot.
That's called assault. That's illegal. Buzz Aldrin should be in jail, motherfucker.
How did that feel for a Mythbuster?
He's an honorary Mythbuster for that.
Fuck you.
Sorry,
Fuck
Buzz
you.
Aldrin's my hero.
Fuck off. Fuck off, you piece of shit.
It's one thing if you want to believe that there's questions, but to impugn the honesty
Impugn, the fucking guy knocked him. That's impunity, you fucking...
Someone like Buzz Aldrin, those original Apollo astronauts were an incredible group of really brave men who did an amazing, amazing feat. They were at the business end of a very terrifying endeavor, and we've had the honor to meet a few of them, and if I ever meet Buzz Aldrin, I haven't met him yet, but if I ever meet him, I'm buying him a drink for that.
Yeah.
Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, it's really amazing when people get so insistent about this kind of thing.
Fuck you. Because there's evidence. Let's look at the stereo photography evidence. Let's look at that, you motherfuckers. You fucking liars. Fuck you. Let's look at that, shall we? Here we go. Here we go. Let's look at this. Let's look at this, motherfuckers. Debunk this, fuck faces. Shills. The stereoscopic method of verifying Apollo lunar surface images. I'm going to blow that up. Here we go. Photographs taken on the lunar surface during the Apollo missions are regarded as the most compelling pieces of evidence that mankind went to the moon. The photographic validation method presented here is based on the detection of two-dimensional objects among three-dimensional objects and determining the mutual arrangement of these objects in space and the distance to them by applying a technique known as stereoscopic parallax. The photographic validation method presented here is based on the detection of two-dimensional objects among three-dimensional objects and determining the mutual arrangement of these objects in space and the distance to them by applying a technique known as stereoscopic parallax. The word parallax derives from the Greek parallaxis, meaning alteration, where parallax is the difference in the apparent position of objects caused by shifting camera position. To achieve such a result, images are overlapped and are deducted, subtracted from each other using the function difference. In an image processing applications such as Photoshop, optical transformations are used when images are subtracted. During image convergence, simple operations are applied: X and Y axis scaling, rotation and distortion, plus two additional processes, perspective and shift. Such processes are referred to below as optical transformations. Objects further than 2 kilometers distant with a minor camera shift have zero parallax. Using Photoshop, the sequence of steps deployed is as followed. 1. 2 overlapping images are placed on different layers, thereby creating a PSD file, Photoshop document. Application of function difference to the upper layer, subtraction of images from each other. 3. Optical transformations are applied, axis X and Y scaling, rotation, distortion, perspective, and in addition a shift to the requirements specified above. As a result, maximum density, black, for the background is obtained. Number 4, the layer is returned to the normal view function normal. The PSD file is pruned to remove non-overlapping parts. 6, sequentially, the converted layers are carried over into the application's GIF animator. A stereoscopic GIF image is obtained that permits the creation of a 3D effect, even on a flat screen. Figure 1 there. A stereoscopic image of wiggle stereoscopy. GIF animation allows the creation of a crude sense of dimensionality. Even with monocular vision, stereoscopic imagery can also determine the relative position of objects in space and enable judgment of their remoteness. If any given image was taken inside a pavilion or dome with a panoramic background, i.e. when there are no distant objects with null parallax, then such a two-dimensional object can be detected among any 3D bodies. In the case of such a finding, reaching the conclusion that there was deception could be stated with confidence. Example 1. The method of creating a stereoscopic image is examined in the following example of images of the Zimskaya power plant, Kharkov region, Ukraine. The camera shift is 1.5 meters. Okay. There's a shift of 1.5 meters. Looks like the bottom image is moved 1.5 meters to the left. distance to the power plant is about 4 kilometers. Okay, the power plant is in the background. You see the smokestacks. And to the tree planting, left horizon, is about 2 kilometers. Tree planting. Image convergence shown below. The main criteria is the most complete background subtraction. And since the distance is more than 3 kilometers, the parallax is 0. Okay. So they're zooming in on the power plant there. See the 5 stacks over there. So they're converging the 2 images, and they're showing there's no difference in positioning, even though the camera is moved 1.5 meters. The power tower is closer, therefore there is a doubling, a shift. Okay, so we're at 4 kilometers. Okay, images are processed in a GIF animator to obtain a stereoscopic image. And there you go. Makes sense. Turn guest chat on for you guys. Okay, you're looking at 2 composited images at 1.5 meters difference in camera shifting from left to right. Notice the smokestacks do not change position at all because they're 4 kilometers away. For more detailed information on creating stereoscopic, it is now possible to measure the parallax and the distance to all remote objects. The distance LA to any object A is calculated as follows. LA equals LB times B over A, where LB is the distance to the object B. B is offset of the object B, and A is offset of the object A. Knowing the distance to the front edge, 5 meters, and the front edge offset, 85 millimeters, can be measured by a ruler. The 2 white grasses plus the offset, okay, the offset of the nearest electric pylon, about 1.2 millimeters. From the proportions ratio, the distance to the near pylon is acquired, namely 350 meters. There you go. You can figure out the distance by the parallax shift. To the second pylon with a parallax of 0.6 millimeters is 700 meters. Okay, so we got 700 meters between the 2 pylons. These simple image transformation operations preserve perspective proportions. Similarly, as in the case of examining the parallax of the Apollo lunar surface images, where, according to NASA maps of the landing sites, the distance to the mountain background should be more than 5 kilometers. 5 kilometers. Evidence of stereoscopic imagery is expected. If such evidence is absent, the image cannot have been taken in the stated environment. Such an image must have been created elsewhere in a studio. Having looked at stereoscopic parallax in images of terrestrial objects, some Apollo images are studied from the photographic record. The Apollo 15 LM touched down at 22:16:29 UTC on July 30th, 1971 at Hadley, 26 degrees 7, 55, 93 north, 3 degrees 38, 190 east, near Hadley Ryle, also referred to as Rima Hadley, Montes Apenninus, and Mons Hadley. The first lunar rover was used for extensive reconnaissance. Within 67 hours, the crew carried out 3 EVAs, spending 18.5 hours in total away from the LM. Sure they did. A new 500mm lens, camera, and accessories were used, which have provided photographic opportunities not available to previous missions. Liftoff from the lunar surface was on August 2nd, 1971. Sure it was. And the astronauts returned to Earth on August 7th. Sure they did. The Apollo 15 crew comprised Commander David R. Scott, I wonder if he's a Mason, Commander Module Pilot Alfred W. M. Warden, I wonder if he's a Mason, Lunar Module Pilot James B. Irwin, or James C. Kirk, Jim. Well, this is where they say they landed, huh? Figure 5, topographic map of the Apollo 15 landing site. A series of Apollo 15 photographs will be considered an stereoscopic parallax, or apparent change in the relative positions of objects, will be analyzed. The first series, astronaut Dave takes a few panorama images in EVA1 near LM. Well, look at there. Would you look at that? The LM with Jim standing at the rear of the rover. The Apennine front and crater St. George are located in the background. The distance from the camera to the lunar module and rover is about 10 meters. And the Apennines and the crater should be 4 to 8 kilometers away. 4 to 8 kilometers away, you say? Are you sure? Is that your final answer? Okay, well, let's see. The rectangle marks the sections of the photograph which were deducted for parallax examination and separation of 3D objects from any 2D objects. Would you look at that? Look at that crater move. That shouldn't be happening if it's 4 to 8 kilometers away. No. The subtraction of the two photos after the transformations of scaling, rotation, and distortion is shown on the left. The right image shows the parallax achieved after merging the two frames. You see that white little crease right there? That's the difference in positioning. That would not happen, remember? Going back to the factory stacks, that's 4 kilometers away. There's no difference in positioning at 4 kilometers away. This guy, he put together this, what's his name again? He's got a PhD, previously of the Department of Physics and Technology in Ukraine. So he just like totally destroyed the so-called lunar landings by showing stereoscopic parallax could not be realistic if they were actually on the moon. Nearby objects, the LM, the rover, and astronaut Jim are shifting relative to each other. The Apennines and the crater St. George are also moving as a whole. Moreover, the shadow is changing on the mountain and the crater. The shadow's changing on the mountain and the crater. It is. See, it's a difference in shading. That's crazy. This finding indicates that it is less than 300 meters to the background. The mountains, quote, mountains, instead of 5 kilometers. 300 meters. That's it. 300 meters. Look at that. These are not 5 kilometers away. They're only 300 meters away at most. Therefore, with such a small alteration to the camera position in Dave's hands, several tens of centimeters, okay, maybe a meter at the most. The mountain should not move. They should remain static, zero parallax. That's proof in the pudding right there. I mean, you can try to just like, suppress all the other evidence of the shadows and the flag waving and all that shit. Just look at the stereoscopic parallax. You can't get around that shit. In addition, the Apollo 15 stereoscopic photos, hey Mo, feature a clear separation line between the mountains and the foreground, based on the distance between the camera and rover. The distance to the panorama of the lunar scape cannot be more than 150 meters. The distance to the panorama of the lunar scape cannot be more than 150 meters. Wow. Conclusion. It is very probable that these images were taken on Earth in a studio stage. You can't get around that. The second series. Jim is doing some panoramic photography, figure 8. The distance from his camera to the LM is approximately 40 meters. You're drunk. The distance from this camera to the LM is approximately 40 meters. Jim's all-sep pan at the end of EVA2. What do we have here? On the left, Dave collects samples. Mount Hadley LM in the center. Behind the LM, the sun is shining into the camera. And the Apennines are in the distance, over 35 kilometers. The Apennines and the crater St. George are on the right, at a distance of 5 to 8 kilometers. Really? The two images with a view of Mount Hadley were selected from the panorama. Distance is about 30 kilometers. The height more than 2.5 kilometers. Just came in from a party, eh? Not too much. Good. Hope you had fun. Note the numerous boot prints left by Dave and Jim. Would you look at that? Rectangles highlight the selected area selected for parallax examination. Okay, you see that white line? That is showing the difference in positioning between the two photographs. This cannot be 5 kilometers away. The subtraction of the two images after scaling, rotation, and distortion is shown on the left. The stereoscopic image after merging two images is on the right. Despite a slight offset of the camera, the mountains are moving, which contradicts the condition of distant mountains. If the image subtraction criteria are changed, the most darkened background condition is replaced with the most darkened front area. Yeah, tell me about it. Look at that shit. Figure 11. The subtraction of the front parts of the two images is on the left. There's a subtraction. The parallax resulting from the two merged images is on the right. The image was obtained by the subtraction of two photos taken with a camera shift of not more than 20 centimeters. Are you kidding me? The camera was only moved 20 centimeters, and yet the mountains move? Flabbergasted is a cool word. Transformations of scale, rotation, reversed distortion, perspective, shift, and the convergence of the two images into a stereoscopic image were applied. An error estimate is now performed. Assuming that this is a real lunarscape, then the distance from the astronauts to the lunar horizon should be 1.5 kilometers. And the distance to the objects in the background, such as the foot and summit of Mount Hadley, is 20 to 35 kilometers. Help! The offset of 100 sampled pixels below the horizon is calculated. The AB line AB line, obtaining an average shift plus or minus 8 pixels depending on the image resolution. The shift magnitude obeys Gaussian distribution, meaning this is noise. A sample of 50 points is selected above the line. 50 points selected above the line AB, i.e. objects located at a distance of 20 to 35 kilometers. Given an offset value of 10 to 58 pixels, the shift direction has a vector and is not subject to Gaussian distribution. Moreover, the higher a dot, the greater value of the shift. At the foot, it is 10A. At the top, 50A. It is logical to assume that if any lunar objects at the interval 0.01, 1.5 kilometers are static, the noise amounts to plus or minus A. The parallax is 0. Then for more distant objects at the interval of 20 to 35 kilometers, the parallax is likewise 0 with the same value of noise, i.e. the shift is plus or minus 8 pixels and the shift value obeys a Gaussian distribution. Okay. However, the results indicate otherwise. Objects above the AB line are moving synchronously with increase in shift depending on the height above the horizon. That's funny. Look at that. Like this point here, that doesn't really move. But they move way in the background. All right, Mo, take care. Conclusion. Mount Hadley moves in bows. The wrong initial assumption was probably made that this is a real lunarscape. Is that one from one frame to the other? Yeah, it's two different photographs that are overlapped at possibly 10 centimeters from the camera moves. A 10 centimeter shift in camera. Conclusion, Mount Hadley moves in bows. The wrong initial assumption was probably made that this is a real lunarscape. As this research demonstrates, this setting must be a totally artificial panorama. Several tens of meters in depth, with a mock Hadley in the background, moving horizontally and vertically to create an illusion of remoteness and of perspective. There you go. Totally artificial panorama. A series of Apollo 15 images are now examined near Rima Hadley for the presence of stereoscopic parallax. Rima Hadley measures in length at least 135 kilometers, also they say, with an average width of 1.2 and average depth of 307 meters, blah, blah, blah. The third series, Dave and Jim make a few trips in the rover to Rima Hadley to collect samples. One of the panoramas comprises photos from AS, blah, blah, blah. Jim is holding the camera. Rima Hadley is in the foreground. Dave is collecting samples near the rover. Mount Hadley is in the background. The sun is shining into the camera in the center. The Apennines are over 35 kilometers away. Well, keep in mind that their so-called distances are merely just parodied from a heliocentric model in size of the moon. The moon is actually very much smaller than what they say it is. I will give them that because it's inside the Earth, inside the concave Earth. In two panorama frames is the bottom of Rima Hadley, which extends to Apennines front and the crater St. George. The distance from the camera to Rima edge is about 5 meters. To the Apennines and the crater is 4 to 8 kilometers. Frames are taken with a shift of no more than a few tens of centimeters. View of Rima Hadley. There's a shift. Look at that. Don't rock the boat. Don't rock the boat, baby. Don't rock the boat, don't tip the boat over. Okay. It is possible to see the movement of the surface areas relative to each other along the edge of trench between points A and B. We're talking about the fake lunar landings. The situation cannot occur in real-world photography. Conclusion, these images were probably taken on Earth in a dome-shaped studio location where movable panoramic backgrounds were installed, and even treated afterwards by further adjustment in a photographic lab. Landscape and traverse map of Apollo 15 landing site by NASA artist. Is that so? So many artists in NASA. I wonder why. It's important because I say it is. We're selected, taken at Station 2 with Rima Hadley observation. Ooh, look at that movement. Photo camera stereo base is not more than 0.5 meters. Okay, so there's a half a meter shift in camera. The topo photo map shows that the opposite slope is over 1 kilometer away. The depth is 300 meters, and it is 7 kilometers to Rima Hadley Bow. Yeah, I'm saying, yeah, well, you and I haven't been to the moon, but neither have any NASA actor astronauts either. Horizontal stereoscopic effect. For this parallax, we apply the next set of transformations: optical zoom, rotation, distortion, perspective shift in X and Y directions to the image as a whole. The requirement of maximum deduction of remote landscapes is imposed to extract horizontal stereoscopic effect. As a result, we obtain the following stereoscopic pair of images. Stereoscopic pair of images with horizontal stereoscopic effect after applying image transformations. Now they got, they got gatekeepers. I was just watching that one video where they interviewed the Mythbusters on CNN, and those guys are total shills. They're like, oh, we call them kooks, those people who believe that the moon landings were faked. But judgment is coming to this world, I guarantee it. Will not last. Their lives will not last forever. The distance is 50 meters. Blah, blah, blah. The images are in simulation of being on the moon. Distortion grid of background, lunarscape. The remote terrain and a stereoscopic pair of images can be converged precisely with each other. Why do you believe in time travel? To do it, so it is necessary to go beyond the optical transformations applied to the image as a whole and introduce digital distortion to the sections of the image. The method can determine the nature of simulation of any background landscape. I build a distortion grid and inspect it. Obviously, if this distortion grid has a curved surface, then it corresponds to projection at the rear onto a circular panorama screen, creating a simulation of a remote background scape on the projection screen. Instead of taking pictures, what do you mean you can manipulate it? The burden of proof is on you. You need to tell me why you believe in time travel, because I certainly don't. Instead of taking pictures in a remote lunarscape, the astronauts take pictures of a foreground with the background projected onto a screen. The radius of the circular panorama can be roughly estimated by a distortion grid. Okay. We live in one dimensions, but there are others. If you travel at the speed of light times... No, it doesn't. That's a fallacy. That's Einstein buffoonery. Nobody travels at the speed of light. Time dilation doesn't work the other way. You can say, if you take a rocket, you have a clock on a rocket, you have a clock on Earth, and say the rocket leaves Earth and comes back, and there's a slower time, but you'd have to say, oh, the Earth is slower, but you can't do it the other way. You can't say, if you're on the rocket and the Earth leaves and comes back. It's bullshit. Now, I've looked into Philadelphia. I think that's a big hoax. Total baloney. Total science fiction to sell books and shit. Below the final result of the transmissions. Prove to me, show me that time travel exists. Show me why you're not in... Prove to me that you're not enraptured in fantasy and bullshit. You're so gullible. You believe in shit like the Philadelphia Project. Come on. Seriously? Philadelphia Project? I asked you first. Prove to me the Philadelphia Project. Come on. Come on. Prove to me time travel. If I'm God, I don't need to burden myself with anything. Just have to wait for judgment. Just have to wait to judge people. You can't tell me that someday, I'm not going to be in a position of authority to judge every human being there is. So I just sit back and wait. I do judge. It's my right to judge. Exactly. Only God has the power to judge. Therefore, I am God. Prove I'm not God. Yes, you are sinners, but not me. I'm the Lord. I'm different than you. No, you're not all God. Just me. I'm exclusive. Prove that I'm not. I am the living God. You will face me at judgment time. That's the way it goes. You don't have to be sorry. I'm sorry for you if you're not gonna believe me. But that's why I'm merciful. That's why I'm here, coming down to your level, trying to relate to you, trying to help you understand. But in the end, just how like Osiris weighed the people's hearts on a scale. Your heart is weighed and shown to be too heavy. Impurity. I see impurity in your heart that you don't want to believe. No, you sound like somebody who's got some problems, got some issues. Whatever they are. hatred, jealousy, avarice, covetousness. Just the fact that I'm not, like, you know, not glorified in my transcendent majesty, just relating to you as a human. As a human. Exclusivity. That's what Jesus preached, and that's what Stephen preaches. Exclusivity. I am the way. I am the truth. I am the life. You don't come to me, the Father. I am the Father. The only way to come to me, the only way to live is to be sealed. That's my seal. There's no reason why, there's no good reason why you shouldn't take my seal. Because you are my children. I am God. I created science. Science, did you go? Your syntax ComSat station says gas 714 equals hand stamp. That's all I know. Exactly. Anyone can say anything. That's why you really just need to be objective. Just think the possibility that someday in the very near future, I will have the authority over whether or not your lives are extended. That's a frightening thought, isn't it? Can you ponder that possibility? Doesn't matter what Jesus claims, it's what I claim. It matters. Because that's why. That's why I'm here relating to you at this low level. I'm so merciful, filled with mercy, filled with mercy. Hello, how's it going? Well, there's mercy and then there's judgment, justice. Okay. Sometimes I go back and forth. It's only right that I exhibit justice when I'm offended. Makes sense, doesn't it? It's called dignity, right? I can't just let somebody just go on abusing me. That wouldn't be right. I have to ban certain people. You saw me over a year ago on Blog TV. Yes, I get offended. Mm-hmm. Yes, 681. I sent my son, who I'm also myself, to be tortured so you can learn peace. Yeah. This has been a very torturous lifetime in this incarnation. Been through a lot of shit. Same pattern repeats itself, but this time I don't get crucified. This time I reign. I become the king of the world. Well, humility is not really the main proponent in all this paradigm. It's just creator. Humility is one of my qualities, but I'm still creator. You know, the ways in which I've changed from the days of Pontius Pilate is that that was a time, that was an incarnation of mercy and grace to allow you to abuse me, to allow you to kill me even. But not this time. This time it's about judgment and justice. Mercy first, then justice. Now I'm here to exercise justice. There's a time for mercy, and then there's a time for justice. Yeah, a lot of people are willing and eager to get the seal. Not a lot, a handful of people. Does that matter? Are you looking for people to follow me in order for you to follow me? That shows that you're weak. That shows that you're a follower in the first place. Think about that. Okay. Really? Who are you? 194. Do I know you from Blog TV? Oh, thank you for the compliment. Anyway, I think I'm going to play a little video I made. Nope, not married. Yeah, I do remember monkey balls stir. Kind of, sort of, yeah. Yes, that's a very healthy thing for me to do. To walk in my divine identity. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna watch a presentation now, okay? Bill Nye? The devil? No, he's just a clown without makeup. Still got the bow tie. Maybe one day he can put on some makeup. Wouldn't that be a scary thought? Outside the earth is a giant snake. Giant, huge. You don't want to go, you don't want to see it. He'll eat you up. Cells, yeah. You know, I guess I just wanted to create a clown like Bill Nye, because he's kind of clowny-ish. Now, creep. We don't want to say threatening things about Bill Nye. I just think he's a clown. Yeah, I had a couple off days. Bill Nye and Lardo. Michio Cuckoo. How to Create a Universe. Watch the first video. No, Einstein was Larry Fine's third cousin. He actually tried auditioning for the Three Stooges, but Larry was a little bit funnier, so he just thought you know how the Jews work, they have that big cabal, you know. So they just put him into the science department. But it's still comedy. Hello, Jacqueline. Yeah, he was. Yeah. I'm king of the Jews. I'm king of the Jews. But you don't have to be a Jew to be king of the Jews, do you? Cyrus was king of the Jews. Nebuchadnezzar was king of the Jews. Caesar was king of the Jews. Oh, it's low. Thanks for telling me, though. I don't like this microphone. It's too low. I don't speak that loud, though. Is that any better? It's about as good as I'll get it to go. Answering the real questions. You're confused. No. All right. So there you go. Here I am. In the flesh. It's understandable that you're confused all your life. You haven't met me. I've come to take away the confusion and the disillusion. Good, I'm glad you feel better. Complete devotion. How can you not be devoted to me? It's part of your built-in wiring. You're created to love me. There you go. Look up what video? No, I'm not going to do that. Compilation of Bible? No. Just look around. Look around at the things I've already made. Square and saved? You mean square like dorky square? No. Well, ultimately. No. Open to debate? No, I'm not open to debate. Mm-mm. Okay. Sin no more. Obey me from this day forward. Doing right. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Where's your treasure? 803. What do you treasure? You spit in my face. Well, that's what they did to me when they crucified me. Thank you. That just confirms that you believe me, that I'm Christ. Oh my heavens. You make mistakes, but what is your treasure? I should give him this boot. You treasure life. You're being vague. You can be a little bit more specific. You treasure earrings. Creep treasures earrings. Oh, our thing. Well, your return, her on Earth, hasn't made the news yet. How about that? That's right. It hasn't really made the news. Kind of like I'm coming in like a thief. I wonder. Gonna kind of catch up on people. The ability to love and be loved, care and cared about. Be compassionate. Okay. All right. Go and love and be loved and care and be cared about. Go and not lie and not take advantage. Yeah, I think they're hiding underground. Yeah. Good place to start. Yeah, my angels, underground angels. But what is God's name? Stevie's angels. Stevie. God's name is God. The big rapture? There I am, I'm back. The big rapture. What do you mean rapture? What are you talking about, rapture? I see you. You don't know what who looks like. You don't know God's name? What? What? Well, that's true. You're not worthy, but there's mercy. Why wouldn't you think, though, that you're not talking to God right now and you know his name? His name is Steve. Why? It says right there at the top, I'm God and I'm viewing. You think I'm lying? You think I'm committing blasphemy? Why? Think I'm trolling? Think I'm crazy? You think I'm demon possessed? Am I Jew? No. I don't like Jews. Stiff-necked people. They disgust me. But I do love them. is the form you have taken to appease us because you cannot handle the truth. To appease you. Maybe. Book of Live? You think I'm just going to reveal my name like that? Write it in there overtly for everybody to see? It's hidden. It's hidden in there. But you can find it. You look hard enough. You can find it. What about the phrase, he had a name and nobody else knew? Subtlety is because swines don't wear pearls. The beautiful people are the ones whose hearts are pure and they take the time and the dedication and the humility to investigate whether something is true or not. And they get persecuted. Most of you people don't want to be persecuted for finding out the truth. You want an easy ride, don't you? You'll be afraid of what you really look like. Maybe appease wasn't the right word. Yeah, I think you might be afraid of what I really look like. But this is what I really look like in the flesh. I might have forgotten to write your name in, though. Right now, you have rumors of war. Rumors. Where have I heard that phrase before? Rumors of war. A Russian warship is 200 miles from Miami, and Russia may be invading Ukraine. What does this mean for us? It means it's close to the end. That's what it means. But there's not going to be a war with Russia. Exactly. Rumors. Rumors. Not real war. Rumors of war. Come on. You know, there's also Russian troops within the U.S. soil. So what's a Russian warship 200 miles away from Miami mean? It means intertwining with you. Last time you healed sick people, Cass, I'm not going to tell you that. Because that I would consider very valuable information. Red Dawn scenario. Russia Shmusha. Well, that's the thing, yeah. If I appeared in my transfigured glory, everybody would believe me. It's kind of like giving yourself a handicap. Testing. I'm testing your hearts. A lot of failures out there, though. A lot of fails. I guess. Why the hell would God be separate from his creation? It's all about entertaining himself. Interacting, entertaining, challenge. I'm in the midst of you. God is in your midst. I'm not separate. I'm not sitting on a fucking big ass throne somewhere in a different dimension. That would be kind of sadistic anyway. If I had the power to change all the evils in the world, I just sat back. That'd be like totally prick. A total prick. Your God heals people all the time. Well, 803. Maybe you need eyes to see me. Just how Moses said, show me your glory, Lord. And I said, you shall not see my face, for in so doing you will surely die. But the mercy of God decided to come in human form, to be of low state, and show himself this way. So the appearance